Cool, and we're live with the infamous.
I mean, you're not lying.
And the Mr. Vlogger South Africa, it's the Sibu Mpanza. Thank you so much for coming through. Real honor to have you here.
Really nice to be here.
Nice, man. So, you've done the big shift up to Joburg.
Yeah.
We were just chatting about that earlier. Yeah, man. So you've been enjoying it so far in your short stint.
I really have. It's very different from Cape Town. Like everything, the lifestyle is so different. I feel like the reason I moved to Joburg is because I felt like I had exhausted Cape Town.
Wow. Okay.
Especially in like the creative side of things. Like for me, what I felt like is that Joburg is where the type of creatives I want to be like are. And that was the place to be. And so far, so good. Yeah.
Because I was laughing to myself. I'm like, I'm sure you're the first person who's actually moved from Cape Town to Joburg since the foot trek is just about.
Exactly.
I know it's perspective, but everyone I know is looking for half a reason to get down there. So, it's quite crazy. I mean, so is it purely for like YouTubing stuff, or is it like a broader kind of your brand in that, or is there like a lot of YouTube? Would you say more YouTube stuff is happening up here than?
Funny enough, I feel like more YouTubers are in Cape Town, especially the ones who are doing it as like a job and like earning money from it.
Okay, yeah.
But I feel like in terms of bloggers in general, in a more general sense, there's more of them in Joburg and more of a blogging culture in Joburg. There's not necessarily a lot of YouTubers, funny enough. I'm like one of the few bigger ones that's in Joburg, and that's what I'm trying to do in Joburg also, is also like build the YouTuber culture, because there's definitely a blogging culture. Fashion bloggers are huge in Johannesburg, but YouTubers not so much, and so that's what I'm trying to sort of bring to this side. And I guess even by coming here, I'm one of the first YouTubers, and that's mainly the reason. I wanted a new change. The biggest change I've ever had in my life was this. Okay. I went to the same school, grade 1 to matric. The biggest move I did before this was going from Wynberg Boys High to UCT to study. Okay. But now I was just like, I left home and I'm like, I'll see what happens when I get to Joburg. And so far it's worked out for the best.
I mean, how do you guys look at Joburg? Is it just this concrete, like...
Yes.
Just... kind of grim,
it
grey
looks
kind
like
of place.
A mess, like a brown, just like ugly city that we look at it and we're like, oh, crime and stuff. And it's funny because Cape Town has crime too, but for some reason when people hear Joburg, they're like, oh, crime, you're gonna get robbed everywhere, and you're like, you get robbed in Cape Town too. But for some reason, like, Joburg has this huge stigma about it. And I made a video recently about the differences between Joburg and Cape Town.
Brilliant video. I'll link in the description. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you. And a lot of people were like, oh, usually when people do this thing, they slag off Joburg and they like say the worst things about Joburg. But I had nothing bad to say about Joburg. Like, as much as I love Cape Town, I'm enjoying Joburg way more.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean... I enjoy Cape Town, but I think I've always just been biased because Joburg's my home and I love Joburg. But I mean, there's been this real fascination. I can remember when I was in primary school, everyone from Joburg went to Durban. It was all about Mshlanga, Belito kind of thing. And over the last 10 years, there's been this massive shift towards Cape Town. And I don't know if it's because of like the political scene or what it is, but it's just been really interesting. And I mean, like to the point now, like I would say, just about give Joburg a half a reason to move down, and they'd pretty much take it. So yeah,
I think people just like the sort of calm culture. If you've been in Joburg for a long time, a lot of people just go to Cape Town and that's why they say Joburg is a place for students and older people, like pensioners, because everything is just like, you don't have to be in a rush. But for working class people, I feel like Cape Town is not for working class people unless you're already in like corporate. But otherwise, Joburg is the place to be. I'll keep saying this. Nice. Yeah.
I mean, so you grew up in Wynberg Boys High. Okay, so I mean, someone who doesn't really have a view, everywhere in Cape Town is on the beach, which I know obviously isn't. But I mean, where about is Wynberg?
So Wynberg,
what kind of like in suburb? Is it like more suburbia kind of
thing? Yeah,
it's
actually it's weird because like the top side of it is very like suburb vibes, like very expensive houses, R1 million houses, and then you get to the bottom of Wynberg and it's more of a sort of a colored area, and it's like lower middle class. So it differs depending on literally what side of the train tracks you're on.
Okay. Which is apparently the case with Cape Town, a lot of the places.
In general. Like, but yeah, Wynberg Boys and Wynberg Boys High was a generally very white school. We were a very well-resourced school, one of the like top schools.
Brilliant rugby school, I know that.
Exactly, yeah. Top 10 every year without fail. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So like when the whole YouTube scene, what was like some of the first guys you started watching and all that? Like what kind of got you into doing it?
So basically the reason like I remember I was at UCT, and I was spending a lot of times in like the computer labs, not doing anything really. Watching music videos, which is what like South Africans usually go on YouTube to watch like music videos and then cat videos and whatever funny videos they find. The news maybe every now and then.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing. And then I landed up on Casper Lee, which we all know is like the biggest YouTuber out of South Africa. I think he's sitting on 7.2 million subscribers now.
He lives in the States, if I'm correct.
He lives in the UK. He lives in London.
Okay.
And I started watching him, and then from him, I found his sister, a very good friend of mine now, Theodora Lee.
Okay.
And she's also, I think she's on 200,000 subscribers. And from there, I was like, what's going on? Like, there's people creating content, like, specifically for YouTube. I found it so weird, but, like, I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
And then from his collaborations, I found a whole lot of other YouTubers and sort of branched out. And I was like, this is such a cool thing that people, like, sit and talk to the camera and, like, have fun and talk about serious issues, talk about, like, chilled issues, like, speak about whatever they want to, and they create content for YouTube. 2 weeks later, I was like, I want to do it now.
That's awesome.
And I literally started my channel.
It was in 2014 now,
yeah.
Did you say?
18th of August 2014 was the first video.
Oh, that's great. Wow. I mean, yeah, I think what's also been a fun thing is the idea that, like you say, people are making content that you can just go make content and put it out. You don't have to ask anyone's permission. You don't have to put it past anybody.
Exactly.
I think that's been fascinating from our angle as well, that there's no one that you answer to, pretty much yourself and the community that you want to kind of attract, I guess, at the end of the day. So, I mean, so like Casper Lee, what does he do? Is it more like kind of the vlogging thing? Or
so he does like the very common generic YouTube, like, once a week, I'll make a video, I'll, like, prank my roommate, or I will, well, that's how he started. I'll do, like, tags, I'll, like just very generic YouTube stuff. But recently, with, like, the more exposure he gets, he's been doing, like, big work with Universal Studios even.
Wow.
So, basically, like, something he does now, I've noticed, is he will have a movie sponsor his videos. Like his most recent video has Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Zac Efron in it.
No way.
Exactly. It's for the Baywatch movie that's coming out. Jeez. And he has them in his videos. He's done, what's Chris Pratt's movies again?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. He's done the first one and he did the second one. So he obviously has some kind of deal with Universal Studios where he brings the people onto his channel. They make a video, a spoof of whatever. Yeah. And then, and so that's what he sort of does now. Okay. And I kind of like it because it's sort of pushing the bar of where YouTube is supposed to be. Because I feel like that whole generic doing tags thing and just
circling something in the thumbnail.
Yeah, it's just exactly. Thank you. It gets very boring, and people like Casper, people like Casey Neistat, people like Ben Brown, they push the bar of what content creation on YouTube is supposed to be.
Yeah, and I think also with like the numbers, like you say, 7 million people. I remember Keith Oberman from GQ in one of his rants. He was mentioning, I mean, he gets like 1 million views, and you're saying that's pretty much more, just on 1 million, than like most actual people actively watching CNN at any given. So you're talking about 7 million with him. I mean, that's a huge reach that like just about no like media platform can match. And not only that, but your people are actually actively looking for that content. It's not like, oh, it's a billboard, I can ignore it or not. It's like, I'm going out of my way to go and see what
to go look at that marketing.
I think that's opening up doors as well to make engaged kind of marketing instead of just kind of throwing it everywhere and hoping it sticks somewhere.
Exactly. I think that's why I also like influencer marketing is slowly becoming a very big thing, where they will use people like fashion bloggers, YouTubers, brands will use them to market their things because you can actually see how many views you're getting on that video that you've sponsored. You can see what people are saying in the comment section, what people are saying on Twitter.
Well.
Exactly. I can give you the exact analytics of what you've asked me to sort of show to the rest of the world.
Which DSTV couldn't really do. Apparently, they can't even tell you how many people are actually really watching the show at any time. So I was looking up that the other day. So that's amazing. I mean, so being on the whole social media, how long have you been on social media before?
Oh, I've been on social media. I think the first thing I had was Facebook, 2008. I was in grade 8, 2008.
Wow. Jeez, you're pretty young. I mean, I think I got in 2006 and I just moved to the UK. I just finished matric. So
pretty much. But like I've only really been on social media since 2013. I think that was like when I started my latest Twitter account, and I went on there and it was fun because Twitter was like this really cool, like big chat room with a lot of people. But then once I started my YouTube channel, that's when I even took social media more seriously, because I didn't just want it to be YouTube. I wanted to be Sibu's a social media content creator, not just a YouTube content creator. And yeah, ever since then, I've become Sibu, the social media guy. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, what was it like during that whole, because we've kind of only been around for a few weeks now, and I had Facebook when it first came out. I had it for a couple of years and then kind of dumped it and never looked back. So kind of trying to get back into it. But what was it like during the whole Fees Must Fall kind of era? Because that's really been a fascinating thing for me in the country, like over the last year or two. I mean, what is it like being on social media during that era? And like, do you think it's been like a valuable kind of outcome to everything?
I think it's sort of a little bit of both. I really like the aspect of the fact that everybody can sort of become a journalist, and everybody can. Like, I don't have to wait for it to come out of the news to see it. If you want to see breaking news now, you go on Twitter, because that's where you'll find something out as it happens.
100%, yeah.
And like, I really loved that side of it, and the fact that people could tell stories in real time of what was happening during Fees Must Fall, and the fact that people could go, listen, that's not actually what happened. Because if you see something in the news, that's all you see at that point. But on Twitter and on Facebook, you'll see somebody will say something, and then somebody else will come back and be like, that's not actually what happened. Whereas if you read something in the newspaper, that's all you have. Exactly, that's all you have. And I love that. I love that people can have their discussions, and I love that people can sort of discuss different views of a certain situation. And I think that was a really great aspect of it. Yeah.
I mean, do you think it, like, were you involved in it anyway? Do you feel like you're a part of it? I just felt like anyone who was on the social media at the time seemed to be involved.
I was big in terms of social media. Like, I told my story, I think when Fees Must Fall first, so Rose Must Fall happened 2015, beginning of 2015, and then Fees Must Fall happened at the end of the year. And then I remember during Fees Must Fall, I told my story about how I got financially excluded from UCT. And that like blew up in the first week, because people had like a story that they could like actually see. So it wasn't this like idea that you had to imagine that somebody couldn't pay for their fees and therefore got expelled. I like said it, and so people could see it.
Wow.
So I think in that way also that's why social media is so dope, because you can get people's actual stories instead of having to just imagine that this has happened to so and so. And I think that was a way I was sort of a part of it. Another way I was a part of it is just generally siphoning out everything that I felt was truth and everything that needed that extra little boost, because I had the engagement. So I had to use it in a very positive way. And it's also very difficult. It's very difficult to not just retweet every single thing you see, especially with like fake news and everything. You have to be very careful of what you speak about.
Because if you get caught spreading something that's really harmful,
exactly. I mean, like just a plain lie.
I mean, that good case in point was all Huffington Post thing a little while ago. When the editor got kicked out.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was pretty intense. So, yeah, man. Anything kind of coming up for the future? Any big plans?
Wow. So I'm hoping to go to the UK in like end of July, August. I'm going to go see, Grant Hines, gaming YouTuber. He's got pink hair. He's very big in South Africa. He just moved to the UK now. He's working with Casper Lee. I'm hoping to go meet some people, make some really cool South African content in the UK, see the differences. And also I'm hoping to go to VidCon at the end of, it's when? 21st of June, which is now, which would be... See, that is a dream right there, going to VidCon.
Is that like the ultimate convention?
Yeah, that's the ultimate YouTubers convention. It's in Anaheim, Southern California, I think, So that would be really cool. Otherwise, I'm just hoping to... what I'm actually hoping to do, which is a very funny thing, because a lot of YouTubers like try not say it, is I'm hoping to do a lot more sponsored content. I love the idea of coming up with projects or coming up with sort of marketing campaigns and... packaging them in like a really cool and creative way, and then sharing them with my audience. So right now I'm working with Standard Bank. I've just worked with Standard Bank. I've just worked with Showmax, and I'm hoping to do some really cool stuff. I'm trying to start a tech segment on my show. Hopefully next month it'll be where I need it to be in order to start it.
Like tech in general, gaming, or
just not deep tech stuff. Like everything that comes out that doesn't necessarily need somebody who has like the best tech expertise. and sort of bringing it home, because I feel like with a lot of the tech people that we have, and there's not actually that many in South Africa. There's a lot of tech people overseas, and they give you all these like tips, and it's like a lot of things you're not going to use. I want to make it more relatable, show you what you can do on a certain thing. Like now I just got the latest MacBook, the 2016, and like people were like, we want to see what it actually does. And so I'm also planning to just show people like how cool that is. So like little things like that, and making them relatable. So yeah, a tech segment is probably the biggest thing I'm most looking forward to. Yeah,
definitely think that's needed as well.
Exactly.
Creeping into everyone's lives, and it's so hard to kind of distinguish what's actually valuable and what's not.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I always joke about, like, I mean, I was dumb enough to go and buy a Fitbit, I'll admit.
How is a Fitbit actually?
It does perfectly at filling up space in that clutter drawer. You know, the one weird drawer in your house that's got all the weird stuff in it. Fits great in there. I mean, it's awesome and stuff, but it's just like
unnecessary.
Yeah, pretty much. And the whole charging it and keeping it, and it's like great to like look at your data and stuff. But I mean, I just
otherwise it's not worth it.
Not for like a couple of grand. No,
but that's good though. At least like you'd be there to say, listen, don't buy a Fitbit because it doesn't make sense.
100%. I wish I'd gone and found a video like that. But then once again, I mean, that's the kind of hard line is like when people when they're shills and they don't actually show that they're working for a company. Like if someone puts out this great video about how awesome a Fitbit is, they could be getting paid by Fitbit. So I don't know if like YouTube's very strict on those kind of outlines.
I actually don't think they are. Hey, no. You can say whatever you want. If a brand comes to you and says, sell our water in a positive way, they could pay you big bucks for you to do that, whether you like the water or not. So that's also the other thing.
You don't have to put a disclaimer up saying that like this water's crap, I'm just getting paid to do this or something like that. Obviously, they wouldn't want to work with you.
And that's the other thing of like, do you trust the people then? That's why I also have to build a sort of loyal following where when I do say something, people can trust that I'm telling the truth.
Yeah. Who's some of the guys you're into at the moment in that?
Oh, wow. Okay, so funny enough, in like overseas, I watch Casey Neistat every now and then. There's this guy called Play the Game Films. He's really good. He does like vlogs, but very cinematic vlogs. It looks like a movie basically, and it's so cool. He's this film student studying at UCLA. Okay. Who else do I watch? I watch a lot of British YouTubers. I can't give you a lot of names now, but like a lot of British YouTubers. I like people who make content like me, who just have a chat, to just talk.
More vlog kind of based.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah. I just heard now before the show, Pharrell's even got like a podcast kind of.
Oh wow, does he?
Yeah, I'm
gonna check it out. Yeah,
I'm not spreading false information. But it's just interesting. Like everyone's kind of got involved in that scene. I mean, like Joe Rogan for me has been like a huge influence, massive fan of his kind of setup, and I think like his whole angle of, you don't have to be like an academic to be an intellect. And that's kind of the aim of this show as well, to have like interesting different people on to kind of just broaden the average listener's kind of horizons and that. But I mean, there's guys like Sam Harris as well. I don't know if you're familiar with.
It sounds very familiar.
Yeah, he's like a neuroscientist, atheist guy, but like that's what he used to be famous for. But he's just got a blog called the Waking Up podcast, really good kind of stuff. But I mean, it's just such a mix. I mean, I first found YouTube and stuff by I'm big into my comic collecting and stuff. Like another thing is like we were chatting earlier about no gatekeepers about getting content on.
Exactly.
Is that like I would never find a comic show on TV. And there's just not enough people to care about it. But there were like 10 channels that were creating brilliant content. So that's what kind of got me into it. And I was like, oh my god, if this is out here for comics, what else is there? So
exactly. That's like top 3. Like the best thing about YouTube is the fact that you can make content about anything you want and there will be people to watch. You can go like the second biggest search thing, like search engine apart from Google, is YouTube. That's where people search things if they're not searching them on Google. So there's content for everybody there, whether you're the person who's making it or the person who's looking for it.
I mean, and I think that's also really interesting. I mean, like there's that whole YouTube rewind thing. I'm familiar with it. Like that's a dream. Like, for everyone to get on there one day.
One day we'll be on there.
We'll be on there together, bro. One day. I've seen so many people say like it's their job to wake up and watch YouTube the whole day, and they still don't even know who half the people in that video is. So it's awesome how huge the community is as well.
That's the thing I always say is I don't think we realize how many famous people there are in the world, and especially because of the internet, it's allowed more people to get fame like so much quicker. And YouTube Rewind is a very good example, but it's also like a really cool way of like, when you watch that YouTube Rewind and you're like, I know that person, wow, I don't know that person. Exactly. And you're like, who are you? Why are you on here? And then you go on their profile and they've got like 5 million subscribers and you're like, wow. I think in South Africa we have like between 10 to 15 YouTube channels that are at like 1 million subscribers. But you know what? It's growing. It's growing. Yeah.
Who's the biggest in South Africa?
The biggest is still Casper Lee. He's not in South Africa anymore, but like a South African channel.
And South African. I know South African,
I think.
but
I think. There's this channel at the YouTube Awards last year. There's this channel, I forgot what they're called, but they're like a channel it's a music channel for like white noise. And funny enough, it's the most viewed channel in South Africa.
Wow.
I just, like for the life of me.
Like the white noise that blocks out other noises, or is it just
No. It's like going to sleep noises and like beach sounds and like eerie music, and they are the most viewed channel in South Africa.
I was actually literally listening to some of that stuff last night. I don't know if it was the same channel, but that same kind of
if I find it, I'll pop you a message. But yeah, they are the most viewed. And then you have Nadav, who does Kruger National, the sightings.
Oh yes,
that's actually one person.
Wow.
Who gets content from other people.
Oh, through an app or something.
To put, and then he puts it on his YouTube channel, and I think that's just business,
big time,
straight up smart.
Because people around the world love that stuff.
Exactly, and before I knew that, I thought it was like a thing where people were just sending it to the Kruger National Park or whatever and then uploading it. But it's just this one guy who gets content from other people. Yeah,
so he's actually curating it.
He's curating it, exactly.
And checking it out.
Yeah.
Jeez, I mean, like, so were you involved in like drama and that at school, or like?
Funny enough, I was. So I was part of like the sort of the heads of culture, and I was more music than anything else at school. Yeah, I played for the Cape Philharmonic Youth Orchestra.
Wow.
And the Cape Philharmonic Orchestra at a certain point.
What instrument did you play?
I did percussion, so I was a drummer.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that was
really
me.
Awesome.
And then in matric, I played for the South African National Youth Orchestra. And that's what I wanted to go study at varsity. But then my parents were like, nah, you have to study like to be a lawyer or a psychologist or a doctor. And I was like, that's really not where I am. And then I ended up studying social development and gender studies, which I actually really enjoyed. Okay. And it sort of helped me become more articulate with the issues I talk about on YouTube. And I think it's sort of clear that I have a little bit of a background with what I'm speaking about. And then I was like, last year, I was just like, I'm dropping out. This is not what I'm doing anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to pursue YouTube full time. Yeah.
And you haven't looked back yet?
I haven't. Not
Congrats.
even a little
More power
bit.
to you.
Thanks a lot, brother.
That's awesome. So like the whole current like sphere of South Africa and that and the whole social media thing. I mean, the biggest thing's definitely been the whole hashtag men are trash thing.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your view on the whole issue?
So I was actually going to make a video about this. And my view is that as an idea, as a concept, it is 100% true, and it's a very potent one, and I love it in that way. I think a lot of men are taking it as a very sort of personal attack on them, when it's a more general sort of idea. Like on my channel, when I speak about white people, I'm not thinking about a certain friend.
Yeah.
Like it's like. No, I am. Like, I'm thinking about a certain thing that's happened or something I've lived through. Okay. I don't mean every single white person in the freaking world has done this and that. Sense. So I feel like that's what Men Are Trash is more like. It's more the general sense, the systematic violence that's happening against women. Because majority of the time, 90% of the time, it's men in the darker sense killing women. It's not women killing men. And so to say men are trash is like, it's a way to wake people up, because a lot of people are just like, you know what, I'm not part of it. It's somebody else who's doing this. It's somebody else who's hurting women. When like every man in a sense is perpetuating this, they call it a femicide, which I think is it's a bad word, but it's a beautiful way to put it, because like we've seen in South Africa, people are going missing every single day, and it's mostly women, and it's men taking them and it's men killing them. And I feel like it's a very like good way of rounding up all the men and saying, listen guys, what's happening in this world is trash. And a lot of the times it's men who are doing these things, and also men who are not stopping these things, because
that's Mark's grab there.
Exactly, yeah. And like a lot of the time, even like younger men will see their friends doing certain things and won't do anything about it, and then they assume, because I'm not the man who is sexually assaulting the woman, there's nothing wrong with what I did, because I didn't do anything. But the fact that you'd left is like a big thing. So I think that's where it's a very general thing, and I love it in that sense. I also personally never wanted it to be a thing where it's sort of this guy is trash, that guy is trash, because then they're the only ones who are going to think they are trash. I feel like it's a nice general thing which basically says men be better, like be better people, towards women and queer folk and transgender folk. And that's basically my on the surface idea of it.
I just feel that it's going to be like another like slacktivism hashtag thing where, like, as a man who's never done anything of such evil proportions and could never think of anything more repulsive, and I've never known anyone to do anything like that. So to me, it's extremely frustrating that you feel like the stuff's happening out there, but nobody wants to do anything about it.
Exactly.
And that's the part where I feel like I don't think telling these guys that they're trash is going to change anything, because I think they know they're trash. Like, I don't think they think very much of themselves if they're going to go and hurt women and kill women and shit. But the part that I really think is kind of true is that we as men who are just standing by and letting this happen are trash. But it gets so frustrating. It's like, what do you do?
Exactly.
You, like, go kick down the door of every house and say, are you beating this woman? Is he beating you? And there's a whole psychology part of it where, like, they don't leave as well. And that's not a victim thing or blaming anyone. That's completely, it's just, it's a fact. And that's the problem. And I think there's this really hard, deep debates that we need to have with society, but still, I don't even know how it starts.
That's the thing. I think it's a thing that starts with you and your group of people, and then me and my group of people, and having those conversations around our friends and our family about what men do in the world and like how we can stop it. And it's the same way I speak about racism. I'm like, it doesn't help necessarily if you hold big seminars. What you need to do is when you're sitting with your family and your drunk uncle says something, you go, listen, that's not okay. And then from there, it's like a snowball effect. So I feel like it is a huge task. You're not lying. But at the same time, I think the solution to it, even though there's no like big solution, is to have those conversations around people. Don't let people be comfortable in saying whatever around you about women and doing whatever to women around you, and then it'll just have a snowball effect.
I could never understand that. I mean, women are like gold. I mean, the way I was brought up in my house. I mean, the one time I slammed an oven door and my dad sorted me out quickly when I was a kid. And he's like, because it was disrespectful towards my mother, and I just knew from then it's like not a fear, but it's just the right thing. I mean, I know it's so cheesy and corny, but like women without them we wouldn't be here, and it's so true. They are literally the best part. And I mean, Christopher Hitchens said it best, where like if you want to uplift a society, the only way you can do is by lifting the women and giving control of their bodies and that. But I mean, a thing that I can say, at least a good positive side, is someone where I grew up and how I've grown up. Like you're saying, like it seemed like there's the racism, the homophobia, and like now the gender violence and stuff. But I genuinely believe that like the racism, and I can only speak for the world I come from and the world that I know, is, I mean, we've grown up where I know you can't say you don't see race, but it's not an issue. And same with homophobia. I mean, if my friend had to come out tomorrow and say he's gay, I'd be like, that's awesome. In fact,
that's cool.
Actually, gay people are a lot more fun to hang around with than straight people sometimes. They're just awesome. So I do feel there is like an uptick in a lot of these things just from where I'm sitting. I'm not saying it speaks for everyone in every corner of the country, but I think, like you say, if we just kind of focus on those small points, it kind of builds up to a bigger picture.
There's a very progressive nature around South Africa right now, which I think is very positive, and social media in general. And I think if we just nurture those spaces that are progressive, it'll sort of spill into every other little pocket.
Yeah, and I think if we just realize, like, I'm a big believer in the fact that we cut down our moral lines, not our racial lines or anything. And I think when we start reaching out to each other across racial lines and saying that, hey, look, these things concern me too, I also want to be a part of like the solution. I think that could also solve a lot of our racial issues in the country, that we realize that we have the same fears, same hopes, same dreams and everything as everybody else. We just want to live in a safe, happy country and be those kinds of things. I think, there could be a double side in that as well.
Yeah, I think for me, I always say the biggest thing is as much as we are the same, we're also different. And it's like the biggest issue I always have with like race is a lot of people want it to be all positive when it's not. And that's okay. That's the thing. It's like, it's okay to be different as long as you acknowledge those differences, because acknowledgement is like the biggest way to fix a lot of things. The biggest, like, I never speak about race to people who don't want to listen to me and don't want to understand. They're just listening to have an argument, if you see what I mean. So as soon as you acknowledge that there is a problem, whether you think it's the biggest problem or not necessarily, acknowledge that I'm telling you that there is an issue. That changes the whole sort of conversation.
There's empathy involved then, and you're actually connecting with someone like on an emotional level.
Yeah,
man.
True.
But Sibu, man, thank you so much. It's been a great conversation, and I'd love to have you back sometime soon.
I'm definitely coming back.
Awesome, man. We can chat about some more stuff.
Of course. Thank you very much for having me.
Cool, thank you, man.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for tuning in. That's been Sibu Mpanza, and I've been Sean Clapson, and we'll catch you on the flip side.